What's up guys, my name is Jaddycut5 and welcome back to an episode of the FC25 Tenerife Career Mode. It's a new season and there is new expectations, but before we do get into this video, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. I'm forever appreciative of all your support, but there is one thing that's just bugging me. 80% of you are currently unsubscribed to the channel, so if you can hit that big red button and hit that thumbs up button, that would be much appreciated. We start off today's episode looking at the budget that the board have given us, and they have given us a budget of 73 million, the biggest budget that we've ever had to play with so far. So let's see what we can do with it, and let's see who we bring in and who goes out. Now, with every season, I always upgrade our coaching staff. You're able to kind of have it so you can basically employ staff to be able to then kind of introduce it where you can have it where players are more kind of developed and so on in different fields, whether that's goalkeepers, defenders, attackers, midfielders, things like that. So it kind of increases the chances of them developing, and it just gives us a better kind of rating overall. So as you can see, you need to reach ideal stars to be able to do so. In terms of the table this year, I wanted to look at who got promoted. Quite interesting to see. You've got Real Oviedo there, we've also got Elche, and we've also got Espanyol. Sides that haven't been in the league for a few seasons or have kind of gone in and then come back out. So interesting to see who has gone up and who has gone down. Before we did make any signings, I had some many contracts to be able to sort out, which was a little bit tedious, but at the same time was needed to be done. Quite a lot of players were only literally with one season left, so it was needed to be done. Managon for starters, he's our main goalkeeper. Mikic, he's our starter right back, so it's obviously wise to be able to kind of get that one done. Marlos Moreno, a player that doesn't feature the most, but at the same time he's quite vital to the squad when needed. Always kind of fills in when needed if he's on the bench, or if he just comes on as a substitute, or if we need him to start. So players like that I feel like we need to keep at the squad. He hasn't really done me wrong by any means whatsoever, so he's a good player to have, that's for sure. And continues his service at the club. Geraldo Becker, he might be 32 years old, but he was running out of contract, and I'd like to see him at the club for another season. Just be able to kind of see what we do from there. Obviously, we'll have to look at striker roles potentially next season, or get someone in young this season to be able to kind of develop from there to be able to potentially be his replacement. Dylan Pereira, a player that's impressed me throughout the seasons, in fairness, and he's done really well. He's only 24, he's 71 rated. There's no reason why he can't get into the high 70s and a low wage. He's on a low working like in terms of squad role. João Cancelo, he might be 33 years old, and yes, he will be dropping in overall this year, but we're quite happy to increase his contract. We'll have to get someone in from behind him, so potentially we'll have someone that kind of surpasses him in time and then go from there and see what we can do. And then the last player was Alan Negroni. Doesn't feature much, but was always on the bench for a fair bit, and he doesn't require a high squad role. So thought it was the best sort of deal for every single party. Tobias Palacio mentioned last season he didn't want to stay at the club and he wants to move. Leon came in for him. There was many teams last season, but obviously it wouldn't contribute to our transfer this season. So I've got him for 16.6. Leon are quite happy to accept. He goes to another team where we won't be facing them unless it's in the Champions League, and I feel like it's the best deal for all parties. So now we need a replacement, and I looked at Jan Orel Bisek. He's 26 years old, 82 rated. He's very tall, got a lot of physicality, and currently playing out of the seaside side, Bournemouth. Very interesting to see. He's not got a high kind of transfer sum. I've gone in for 25 to see if they'll accept. They wanted 26.8. Kind of want to stick with 25 in fairness. I don't really want to go too much up on what I've already offered because I still need to improve in other areas also. So I've gone for 25.5 to be able to see if they'll accept. And they definitely do so. So hopefully if he accepts on contract terms, we'll be able to get this deal done. He wants a high contract length. He's got a decent wage at the same time, so I'm looking to lower that to from 68 to 60, and he's quite able to accept, and that is our first signing of the summer done. Bissek will wear the number 22 shirt for the season. He's a very good centre-back to introduce. Pretty much an upgrade on Palacio from what we've got at the moment. He's 82 rated, 26 years old. He's got a lot of height. He's still got some room for improvement, and I feel like he'll slot in really well with Spiliers and the other surrounding defenders. So yeah, very good buy to start off with, I have to say. I'm very happy to get this deal done. After we got that transfer done, I looked at a free agent, Arat Aguilar. He's 71 rated and only 17 years old, which kind of puts me onto thinking that he'll be a great star for the future. We've offered him a sporadic role and he's quite happy to accept, so he will be the third striker, but he should be playing a fair bit with that rating, in fairness. We've given him a 5-year deal. He could potentially be a replacement for Geraldo Becker, which would be ideal, in fairness, if we can bring in someone now that's cheap, and then we're able to build them up and see if we can kind of go from there. He's not got high wages. He only wants a small signing on bonus, and we're quite happy to do that. He pitched in with the number 9 shirt, but we are going to give that to Geraldo Becker this season, and then we will vacate another squad number for himself. I feel like Becker deserves it after the previous 2 seasons that he's had at the club. He's been absolutely phenomenal and a goal scorer that has just been absolutely tip top. I'm really happy with his performances of late, and hopefully he can continue that into this season, even though he is getting slightly older. Leon was able to agree terms with Tobias Palacio to be able to go over to the French side. Happy to see him go if he doesn't want to stay. Felt like he was a good centre-back for us and felt like he had a lot of room for improvement, but he didn't want to do that with us at the end of the day, and we're quite happy to get the money that we have got for him, bearing in mind we didn't pay anywhere near that. So a profit made, a player that's unhappy that is gone, and that we were able to look further forward on to that part. Palacio was mentioned in the press as well that we announced the departure of the 20-year-old in the 17 million deal that will see the player earn 29,000 a week. Easy deal for us, in fairness. We knew it would be a good sale, and that is done and dusted. Now, with Jeremy Mello obviously hanging up his boots last season and João Cancelo not getting any younger, we need to have a left-back that's going to compete for the place as well as improve in time. I found that Lewis Hall was currently sitting at Barcelona. He's currently 22 years old, he's 80 rated, and he's got such a good potential. Currently market value of 25.5. Barcelona have hit me with a 34.7, which I'm not paying at all. There's no way. I've gone in with 26.5 at that point, or 26.1 at that point, sorry. And they're looking to accept, which is really surprising because they bumped up the offer. It's as long as Lewis Hall is willing to accept, then we are able to get the deal done. He'll be a vital player for ourselves. I wanted to offer him an important role, but he wants to go a crucial. I feel like he will get enough game time, and obviously there is enough games within the calendar year that he will be featuring in. He's a great kind of player to have, and obviously he will be improving as time goes on. He's only young at the same time, so we've got a lot in terms of room for improvement. And Cancelo's probably only got a season or 2 left in him, so he could realistically surpass him and so on. And I feel like it would be great for us to be able to have a player like Lewis Hall, in fairness, and be able to kind of add to the defensive line and have a decent bit of cover there. So he's quite happy to accept on a 70,000 per week, and he will wear the number 2 shirt for the season. It's a great signing. He was sitting on the bench a lot for Barcelona. I noticed him a few times when we played against them in previous games. So I feel like it's a great signing for both parties. Lewis Hall gets some more game time, and we get a player that's going to develop us into a kind of better team and so on. So great addition to the defence, that's for sure. He's got a lot of pace. He's got great dribbling, good defending ability, and he will definitely add some calibre to that back 4. In terms of departments, I mentioned that F.A. Ackman might be leaving the squad next season, this season, and unfortunately he is. Didn't really seem to work out for us, to be honest. But we did originally bought him from Turkish side Galatasaray, but it didn't really seem to work off. He will go to KV Ses Westerlo for 1.3 million, and we wish him all the best. I also mentioned at the end of last season that I wasn't too impressed with Ismail Assar's performances. Real Sociedad came in with a fee. I've gone for 16 million, and they're quite happy to accept. So I've got rid of a player that's ageing. We've made a profit on him, and we should be able to get a decent replacement at the same time, as long as he is willing to accept the deal. Christopher Mullin has been on loan for a fair few seasons, but hasn't really seemed to develop. I don't know if he's had the game time to do so, but we let him go for 190,000 to a random side. Real Oviedo obviously are promoted into the Liga now, and they are looking to be able to see if they can pinch Adrian Guerrero. It's a player that's done fairly well for us over time, but I just don't think he's played enough games to be able to say that he should be at the club. He's 29 years old now, he's 71 rated, he's not getting any better, he's a fairly slow winger, and we could see him probably kind of go off now and kind of make a replacement for that moment in time. I tried to bump up the transfer as much as possible, but they weren't budging at 1.650. At the end of it, I was quite happy to accept, because I'm not too sure if anyone else was going to go in for him, and that's that deal done. Ismail Assar was able to agree terms for Real Sociedad, so he stays in the Liga, but he goes over to Real Sociedad on this particular occasion. It's a good move for both parties. I didn't feel like he was doing well enough for us. We've got a decent bit of a transfer, and they feel like they're getting an improvement on that right hand side. He's got a lot of pace, but his dribbling aspects are really poor, and his touch is really poor, and that's what let him down as a player. But we do wish him all the best, that's for sure. Now, with Esmail Assar leaving the club, we need a replacement. We've got Adrian Liso, we've got Daniel James, and we've also got Luzmi Cruz, but I just don't feel like we've only got anyone to be able to kind of really make a statement on that right-hand side. And one person I thought of straight away was Amad Diallo. Ignore that Eric Ten Hag is the manager of Manchester United. Obviously, I made the save when he was in charge. Obviously, he isn't at this point. It is Ruben Amorim, and EA do not update them in-game. So in terms of Amad Diallo, he's got a market value of 30 million, but I've got him for a cut price of 25. So as long as he's willing to accept the deal, it should all go through with flying colours. He wants a crucial role. We're quite able to accept because he should see him on the pitch pretty much week in, week out. He wants a lengthy contract. He's only 25, so he's kind of getting to a decent kind of age, and he's at a good overall of 81 where he can improve from there on. He's already on a high wage. I'm looking to kind of make it a little bit smaller from 88 to 74, and he's quite able to accept. So Amad Diallo will be a Tenerife player this season, and he will be good changing Old Trafford to the Canaries. Really, really good signing for ourselves, in my opinion. I feel like we've got him for a cut price. He will wear the number 8 shirt for the season, and I feel like he'll be a staple on that right hand side to compete with the other wingers that we have got. I really feel like we've made the right choice in what we've got. I don't feel like we've had the right winger for a fair few seasons. Obviously we had Cesar Herrera, we've had Ismail Assar, and now Amad Diallo. I really think this is going to work out for us, and if it does, then it will be absolutely amazing. Another departure, and Adrian Guerrero does agree terms with Real Oviedo. Decent deal for them, in fairness, because they get an experienced liga player, and we just kind of get rid of someone that's been sat on the bench for X amount of time. Not the biggest of fees, but at the same time, if we're making a player happy by moving on and getting game time, then fair enough, that's for sure. And another departure, we've had a player off from the youth system. I know we don't really play with the youth system at all, but we had a player that we did actually have at the start of this stage, Ming Jong Kang. He went on loan, a quite easy deal for us to kind of get done, in fairness, and hey, it's as simple as that. He wasn't really good enough to be third striker, and hopefully he can develop from there on, potentially start in the future. I was looking at my centre mid options, and I don't feel like I have enough. One person that impressed me was Zidane Iqbal. I had to meet a release clause of 4.65 million, which was a bit annoying, but at the same time I had to do so to be able to acquire his services. He's on a low wage. He doesn't want a high squad role. With the amount of games that we're going to be playing next season, I feel like it's going to be vital for ourselves to have the experience in the midfield. So we'll have Ruiz, we'll have Rig, we'll have Buadidi, we'll have Cameron, we'll have Diarra, and we'll have Zidane Iqbal. He can also play as a cam, so if sometimes where Dylan Pereira isn't fit enough and he can be on the bench, or if we ever cop an injury with Carlos Alvarez, then at least we've got the backup. Zidane will wear the number 14 shirt for the season. I feel like it's a really, really good deal for ourselves, in fairness, and that gets that done. With that being said, we then being able to kind of upgrade the development stats for all the players. Basically what this does is it works on particular stats that you want them to work on, and they can kind of go up the overalls from that point onwards. Anytime that you sign any new players, it's always wise to do this particular thing before you kind of get into any games or anything like that, just because once that's done, then you're able to kind of see the development, and then once they've reached that particular role growth, you can then put them onto something else which they can then go on to. But this is our first game of the episode. We've only got one game in this episode, but it's a massive one, and it's in the Super Cup against Manchester City. If you're not too aware of the Super Cup, it's the winners of the Champions League and the Europa League that face each other before the start of the season. It's a massive game for ourselves, and we face Manchester City on this particular occasion, the biggest English side that we've possibly faced in this particular stage. So I'm looking forward to this one. Start of the season, a few new faces. Malagon in goal, Spiliers and Cancelo, with, as you can see at the back, with Bisek and Mikic. Moving forward to the midfield, we've got Buadidi, Ruiz, Amad Diallo starts, and Daniel James on the left hand side. Carlos Alvarez just ahead, and who else but Gerardo Becker as our lone striker. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a great game against Manchester City. Let's see if we can put on our best kind of game, and let's see if we can bring our first trophy home of the season. 5 minutes into the game, Tomiyasu finds Peroni there in a decent bit of space. He looks to play it over to Jack Grealish. Grealish thinking about playing a pass into the box, but he fancies Peroni instead there, playing it on to Tomiyasu, the previous Arsenal man, whipping it over to Erling Haaland. Using his physique, he touched it down, but a lovely interception from Bisek there, as you can see, as Amad Diallo gets his first touches of the ball, finding Carlos Alvarez. Diallo makes a lovely run, in fairness. He's got a lot of pace about his game as he looks to be able to see if he can create an inroad for Becker. He looks to get the ball in, but blocked initially there as it looks to be cleared as Erling Haaland looks to win the header, but Bisek gets on top there as Spilius looks to mop up. Mikic on the right hand side now, running down the right, finding Amad Diallo. Diallo into the middle for Gerardo Becker there as he looks to turn and play onto his man. It's a good chance for him to get forward. Amad Diallo's got a great chance, and he's also got his first goal as a Tenerife player. It's Manchester City 0, Tenerife 1, and Amad Diallo has his first shot as a Tenerife player. It's also his first goal. Really good start to the season for himself to be able to build confidence, and this is the sort of player that we're getting. Someone that can run at defenders and be able to cause a threat. He's got a lot of pace, his dribbling sublime, he's got a lot of skill to his game, and I feel like he's going to be a perfect fit, and that shows already why that should be the case. 14 minutes into the tie, Manchester City will feel a little bit hard done by conceding so early, but they look to be able to see if they can rectify that. But Bissek with a good interception, sticking a leg out, you can see how tall he is, and that might kind of work in our favour, having two great big centre-backs with Spiliers and Bissek, that's for sure. But we now look to go on the attack as Alvarez and Diallo link up there, as you can see, but we lose out in the end as Perón finds Nunes in the middle there, as Nunes looks to be able to stride forward and create something for himself here as he looks to find Erling Haaland. Haaland to Foden. Foden's got a chance here, and that's a big hand from Malaga. Mikic tries to get it out, but unfortunately it's a corner kick conceded. 22 minutes into the time, Manchester City are kind of get themselves into this game now as they look to create some more chances to be able to find themselves an equaliser. Nunes finds Phil Foden there with a decent bit of space for Erling Haaland to be played in, but he doesn't fancy it. He plays him in once there. He's a great opportunity. Once again, a great save. Really good stuff there from Malaga, proving his worth on the top stage, and that is a super save. As we look to be able to go on the counter-attack, Amid Diallo on the right-hand side finding his teammate Carlos Alvarez. Diallo making the overlapping run there, as you can see, as he looks to offer his support, trying to see if we can play him in, but not to be, as Alvarez gets shrugged off the ball. The only kind of deficits to his game is that unfortunately he's a bit small, and he obviously gets knocked off the ball a fair bit, but with his pace it definitely works in our favour in that way. But Manchester City now fighting back. It's Erling Haaland, and he won't want to be looking at the highlights reel on that one any time soon. 39 minutes into the game, Manchester City still yet to find a goal, but they're really trying now, as you can see, as Erling Haaland has a chance to find Phil Foden. He turns his man with a great opportunity to find Jack Grealish, and it's a super block from Bissek. Tries to follow up the header, but it falls back to Tomiyasu with a chance to get the ball into the area there, as you can see. Perón on the ball now. It's a super save once again from Malaga, putting it out for a corner kick. Chance perhaps before the end of the first half, as the ball is whipped into the area. Daniel James clears the header, falls back out to Jack Grealish with an opportunity to pump it back in. Rodri on the ball now for City. Rodri trying to do something. He hasn't been seen too much in this game. Can he do something now, as he finds Nunes on the right hand side? Nunes trying to get past Mikic, but he can't do so, and that's a solid challenge in fairness. Finding his teammate Daniel James there, as Geraldo Becker's in support, and Daniel James finds Geraldo Becker. Lovely ball in fairness, as Becker is on his own, but he's got a lot to do with in this position. It's Geraldo Becker, and that is a really good save from the keeper, and it looks to be the end of the first half. Positive first half against a top side in Man City, that's for sure, so I'm hoping we'll be able to continue it on into the second and really be able to kind of push on and potentially get a second goal to be able to kind of solidify this result and get our hands on our first bit of silverware this season, as Bissek has had a great debut so far, making another interception, finding Amid Diallo there on the right hand side. Ball played in, Geraldo Becker, he's in with the keeper, and unfortunately it just strayed wide. Looked to be a difficult angle for Geraldo Becker to be able to convert on that particular moment, and he looked to be shrugged off the ball also, but very much a good effort from the striker though, that is for sure. We're looking to be knocking on the door now as 53 minutes on the clock. The goal kick has been taken there short to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu finds Bernardo Silva is coming as a substitute there, as you can see, as he finds Phil Foden. Now Erling Haaland on the ball. He looks to be able to stride on with his presence, but no stopping Bissek, that's for sure. Lovely challenge. He tries to get past him once again, but loses out in possession as Man City retain the possession in a good place. But Cancelo now with an interception as Buadidi finds Alvarez, and now the counter happens. Geraldo Becker 1-on-1. We know what happens in those situations, and of course it's a goal. It's Manchester City 0, Tenerife 2, and Geraldo Becker celebrates in front of the travelling Man City support, and that is a massive sucker punch to their Super Cup hopes, that's for sure. Lovely attacking move, lovely defending work to be able to win it back in a dangerous area and push it up the pitch as quick as we possibly could, and that's exactly what happened. Geraldo Becker doesn't miss those one-on-one situations. His pace brings him into them situations originally, but missing them is another thing, and that's definitely not in his game, that is for sure. But 60 minutes on the clock, Man City will need a goal now if they want to fancy themselves to get back into the game. Now, as you can see, they're playing it about Rodri onto Perón. Advantage being played, but an interception from Ruiz, but they get back in possession. It's Erling Haaland. It's a great chance, and it's another save from Malaga. He's had a top performance, and I would say one of the man of the matches, that's for sure. Substitutions to be made as James comes off the pitch for Adrian Liso, and Buadidi also coming off the pitch for Chris Rigg, as we look to be able to freshen up our midfield and attacking options. It's been a very good half for ourselves, but it's always good to rotate, that's for sure. Debutants Bissek and Diallo are having a very good game. Let's hope it continues. And as you can see, another challenge from Bissek. They still get themselves back in possession, but once again another challenge from Bissek. Advantage being played as a foul looked to be committed there, as you can see, by Adrian Liso dispossessing Tomiyasu, and it looks to be Bissek is going to be in the book for the first time in his Tenerife career in later parts of the second half. 12 minutes left, and we can realistically really see this game out knowing that we're going to get victory. Man City have poised a lot of threat, but they could still poise another threat here. As you can see, Savinho gets past Mikic, trying to shug him off the ball, but not to be as they go back to go forward. A ball whipped into the air. It's Erling Haaland, and how he has not scored that, I'm not too sure. But another question needs to be asked: how has Madigan saved that? It falls to Spiliez, and he falls back to Bissek there, and it now gets cleared. An unbelievable save from Madigan. He's pulled off some worldies, that's for sure. With only 1 minute left on the clock, you can only feel if they score now, it would be a consolation. As Phil Foden looks to find Erling Haaland, but Bissek intercepts it, and Madigan picks it up. Madigan clears his lines, finding Sherrod Becker there as it nod on to Chris Rigg. Rigg over to Diallo. He looks to win up the header, and he falls to the floor. He looks in some sort of just kind of pain in that way. Not good from our perspective whatsoever. It's really unfortunate, and that looks to be that is the end of his game. But yeah, he's really just in some discomfort. It's really strange, I have to say, where he went up for the ball, and I'm not too sure if that's going to be a big injury or not, but I hope so, because we haven't even got to the proper league season as of yet. Regardless of that injury, today has been a very good day for ourselves. We've been able to acquire some top talent, and we've also got our hands on the first trophy of the season. It's not the most glorified trophy within Europe, but it's definitely a step in the right direction, though, that we've beaten the winners of the Champions League. So could we potentially compete in the Champions League? I'm not too sure. Really unfortunate that we got that injury, but let's focus on the now and let's see what happens. Hopefully it's not a lengthy injury, and hopefully we don't have to make any more signings around that particular kind of place to be able to kind of keep us sure in that moment. But Marcel Ruiz steps up. He's had the captain's armband for a fair few seasons now when David Rodriguez haven't been in the side, and he will lift the trophy for this moment, and we are crowned Super Cup champions. A very good moment and the right step in the direction, that's for sure. Really happy to be able to win this trophy. It's a really good start to the season, and hopefully it's a good omen to be able to kind of go forward from there and win plenty more as the season goes on. He kisses the trophy, and the fans celebrate in jubilant fashion. Confirmation of the injury, and he suffered a dislocated shoulder. Amid Diallo hasn't been able to start in the league as of yet because he will be out for 2 months. Really annoying that's the case, and it was literally right at the end also. He had great contribution to that game, but unfortunately we won't be seeing him for another 2 months in game, and unfortunately we'll be having others that will fill the void. Not too sure if there's any more transfers to come at this moment in time. I'll kind of evaluate that at one point in time and see where we go from there, in fairness. Unfortunate for the injury for Diallo, but hopefully we're able to kind of move on with Cruz, Adrian Liso, Daniel James and Moreno still at the club. But yeah, very good start to the season, winning the Super Cup and getting some big names as we face Real Betis in our first game in our next episode. But that is it for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.